Who are you?
They call me King.
All right, Wes Miller, I'm glad to have you back. Last time we talked was A Day to Die For. Now we got what could be the beginning of an action franchise, in my opinion, with Call Her King. This was a fantastic movie. I feel like this is going to be the year of Die Hard clones, especially with especially with Bruce Willis retiring, officially retired. We
Yeah,
had Die Hard in the prison earlier this year with Breakout. Now we got Call Her King, which is like everyone's saying it's Die Hard in the Courthouse. But great job on this movie.
yeah, I appreciate it, man. And look, the formula works for a few reasons. You put somebody in a contained location, it ups the ante, contained amount of time that you have to get it done by, which ups the stakes a little bit. And Die Hard is the one that kind of set the standard. With that type of genre. And just happy to have made it. I'm glad you enjoyed it, man. We had a blast making it. The cast was wonderful. Yeah, just really happy with it, man.
So what brought on the idea to start this up? How did it all begin?
So I was looking for the next project after A Day to Die. We had a couple that were like are actually were in the works and are in the works. But we had an opportunity to meet with BET and BET Plus, and they are looking and were looking to add action thriller films to their repertoire because the audience really loves them, but there aren't many like on their site. And so essentially, I just talked to them and found out a little bit more about who their audience was, what they really looking for, and then what they kind of wanted. And then I said, okay, just give me a couple of weeks and let me just go work on some ideas. And for me, I can only do something if it excites me. And because this industry is so hard, the writing is hard, directing is hard, editing is hard, releasing is hard. And if you're not like fully passionate about like what you're doing, you'll peter out. So I really just kind of went back and just went to the drawing board, writing out concepts, writing out characters. And I wanted to do something that was honoring like the filmmakers before me, and also that was forward looking and reaching like the newer audience and BET's audience. And so I definitely wanted to have a female protagonist. And I wanted something that wasn't like overly cookie cutter, and also wanted something that had some kind of social relevance in it. And being a former lawyer, I know the justice system and how it fails people all the time, and especially people of color. And I just thought it might be interesting. What if the justice system failed a person of color at the hands of a person of color? And then, what happens in that world if somebody takes an extreme action to fully take justice in their own hands. So that's kind of how it came about, man. And then after that, once I found Jada King and then I found the two brothers, it was really just, at that point, just kind of working to kind of, build a story that, that these characters would live in. And so that's how it came about.
And one thing I really liked was the opening where we meet Jada King in a martial arts dojo. She's
Right.
training. And I thought that was quite an interesting aspect
Yeah.
because I don't know who played her sensei in the film, but he was really good. And I'd love to know where that idea came about. I'm guessing you got it from like the old blaxploitation flicks with they used to have all the martial arts stuff as well. I mean, I felt like that was a little nuance to it. That worked well.
Yeah. So again, like I definitely influenced by those earlier films that I grew up on, that I think have kind of left the zeitgeist a little bit. And I think if people really recall, a lot of those films help studios bridge very difficult times. Um, and it still happens that, we get this African American content, people do well, and then you forget about it when they're reach another level, but it's still in that zeitgeist in our hearts. But this one specifically, two things. One, we needed to understand why Jada had the ability she had when things hit the fan in the movie. And then two, I love fresh faces. I love new people. And I met that sensei. And I was like, he just has a wonderful face. So I was like, if he wanted to do it, I offered it to him, and he was happy. And then, Sensei is like 70 years old and can kick my butt and the butt of like, people like the third of his age. And he was just an amazing guy. And another part of that was, we don't, as African Americans, we don't see a lot of African Americans in martial arts. You don't see a lot of African American martial arts masters. It's just a little reminder that they're there, we're here, and you may
Yeah.
have to seek us out, but like there are some really talented, Black martial artists in the world. So yeah, we're just kind of hitting a few little checking few little checks at with one scene.
Yeah, I mean, we had the old days. We had like Billy Blanks, and yeah, I think
Yeah,
the one guy we got now is Michael Jai White, of course.
yeah, and that's
And
that's pretty much.
then and then there's a great documentary, The Black Kung Fu Experience, which I'm recommending to a lot of people. It has Ron Van Cleef, Dennis Brown. Uh,
Yes,
that's a great
I
documentary.
am not familiar with that, but I'm going to watch it. What is it?
The Black Kung Fu Experience. It's on PBS video.
Oh, I'm on it.
Yeah, so
Yeah.
that's definitely one. And I gotta say, props has to go to hope I pronounce her name right, Naturi,
Yes.
who plays Jada. She's just fantastic in this. I mean, she got to show that brass, but I like the fact that she's also flawed.
Right.
I keep saying, I like the fact that today's heroes have a flaw to them. And clearly she's stressed out about not just the case, but we know there's something under the surface that we find out later in the film. And it affects like her, it's affecting her marriage in a
Yeah.
way. And we don't know much about it until later in the film what it actually is. And I find that very interesting that she's going through these flaws, but yet has to fight her way against these flaws to give justice per se.
Yeah, and it's interesting. So Notori is amazing. After we had our first conversation, I knew there was nobody who was meant to play this judge but her. She's so professional, so rangy, so committed to her character. And it was like having a collaborator in the room with me as we were, getting this film ready. Um, and I, her work, and I always knew she would be, she could handle the dramatic work. I think the question, some people may have had was, could she handle action? And hopefully after this movie, they'd be like, absolutely yes. And she was just great, man. And yeah, to your other point, when you're building characters, like no matter how good of a hero you are, we're human, and we're flawed. You have two choices: to embrace those flaws and let them help us be better, or hide those flaws and pretend that you don't have them, and then refuse to address them and let them weigh you down. And I thought, like in this scenario, I have known judges before, like in real life scenario, where a judge had let a guy go off of a minor offense, and a few days later he actually killed somebody in a DUI. And I remember talking to that judge, and he was just never the same after that. He actually retired like probably about 6 months after that, and
Oh,
never
wow.
touched again. And so like that is like a heavy responsibility. And like, a lot of people, you know, criticize the justice system, and rightfully so. But the justice system runs through judges, and judges are human. And I think, like, if you take both sides of the coin, if you begin to understand that judges are human and flawed, and begin to speak to them as such, we can probably make certain advances, as opposed just to saying the justice system is corrupt, and get rid of it. And so I just thought it would be interesting in this film if it was a Black person who had that trauma that led them to have a blinders on, um, in the sense of they're trying to do the right thing, but working within those blinders. Um, so yeah, man, I'm glad you picked up on that. Yeah, it was something that I just thought it would be really interesting to explore.
Yeah, and I gotta say, Lance Gross really surprised me in this. I mean, I know him for his comedy work, but I know when I saw Tyler Perry's Temptation, he started shifting slowly to that dramatic effect. Here, he just goes full 180. I think he's one of the best villains out there this year because he's
Yeah,
just this complete mastermind. Like he doesn't have to really do anything. He lets his thugs do all the action, but he's more the more cerebral assassin, if you will, of the group. You know, he really gets under people's skin, and you know, he was just phenomenal in this role. I think this is one of the best things he's ever done.
No, I appreciate that. And you know, when we cast him, it was kind of, you know, what happens in Hollywood is a lot of people get typecast.
Yeah.
And you know, you do certain roles. Oh, you did that role good, come do one similar. You do that good, come do one similar. You do that good, come do one similar.
Yeah.
And I didn't want just a typical quote unquote somebody who's played a bad guy. I wanted somebody who you would want to pull up a chair next to you sometimes and like maybe have a conversation with, maybe go out to eat with, and then have that underneath who this person really is. And I think like Lance absolutely nailed it. And you know, I told him, I was like, I'm super proud of your performance. And you know, as a director, one of our biggest tools plus challenges is casting.
Mhm.
You know, you cast the wrong person in that role, it comes off flat, it comes off one-dimensional, it comes off, you know, stereotypical, cliche, all those abilities. But if you put somebody in there who has some subtext under that smile, some subtext under those eyes, which Lance was able to bring, it just adds a nice level of nuance. And then him playing against the judge, you know, two smart people. So it's not just a battle of physical, it's a battle of wits, all the way to the very end. So
Exactly.
yeah.
And then I love Jason Mitchell in this because I think he's the most conflicted character in the whole movie because he doesn't know which way to go. You know, should he join the judge? Should he join his brother? You know, because he's ready to accept his fate, but it's like once his brother gets into the picture, he's like, I don't know what to do now. You know, so
Yeah.
I like this. I like that his character kept shifting on and off, like trying to decide which is the right side for him. And I think
Yeah.
that's a big plus in the film as well.
Yeah, I appreciate it. Yeah, and you know, with Jason's character, Jason again, you know, our top three, honestly, our whole cast, man, like just A plus. You know, the newbies like Siobhan and Garrett, Walter, who played the inmate, like, you know, Han, you know, the one of the henchmen. Like
Yeah,
everybody just did such a wonderful job,
he
man.
did.
But Jason is an amazing actor.
Oh yeah,
Um, and him and I discussed his character, and a lot of what you're saying is like, where is he really? And so what we were able to do are get options during the shooting. So during the edit, we could throttle exactly where he may or may not be, and just kind of landing on that line of is he or isn't he, which kind of keeps you guessing. Um, but yeah, man, he's his depth, his commitment. Again, like all these actors were committed to their character, being able to explore the characters together. Yeah, man, I can't say much more, man. I was like super blessed to have these guys and ladies.
yeah. And the action scenes were great too. And my one of my favorite fights was actually Naturi versus Siobhan. I mean, that fight was pretty wicked the way it came out. And the fact that it was actually both of them doing it, that you could tell that they did not use doubles. They worked their butts off in that fight scene. They did
Yeah,
a great job on it.
yeah, they did, man. I love action movies, man. And I know a lot of people do. I love making them because you get a good mix of being able to have the dramatic work and also the action work. And it just makes for like a complete experience cinematically and also creatively. But that's one of my favorite sequences too. The two ladies squaring off, two, excuse my language, but two badass ladies,
Yep.
you know, like going at it. And yeah, it was fun, man. And Siobhan, we found her through an audition, and we were just like, that's our Salima.
Yeah, that's
That's
awesome.
yeah.
So were there any difficulties that you faced during production at all? Like, did you have any trouble, any issues, or was everything smooth? And
Logistically it was tough because we were shooting in an actual city building. We were shooting in an actual courtroom. So you got they want us to destroy the courtroom. So there are a lot of parameters and timing. We had to shoot after hours. and things of that nature. I think logistically it was tough, working within the parameters. But the city of Camden and Glasgow County were like really wonderful. But like outside of that, like, nothing out of the ordinary. I mean, you have your challenges on shows. But you keep the train moving, and what I try to do is I try to keep a crew together that we enjoy working with each other, and when we leave we actually miss each other and are excited to get back together again. And I think for like 95% of this movie we had that crew, so or 95% of the crew, that's what we have. So yeah, it was nothing, other than logistics. It was all right.
That's awesome. I gotta say, this movie leaves room open for a sequel. So if this does well enough and it gets enough viewership, will we see the return of Jada King down that road? Because the way it's set up, it looks like this could leave open, and this could be at the start of a new franchise, in my opinion.
Yeah, I would never deny the fans what they want. I would give it to them. We definitely, have a few ideas, but you don't want to put the cart before the horse.
Right.
I think Naturi, Jason, even if there was, something with Lance, like all of them could definitely command a sequel or two. Just got to go in and find the story that excites us, what to explore next, and make it happen.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
So in the meantime, what's next for you after this that you can talk about?
So I don't know if I can. We just wrapped a show called Black Heat that we shot. I actually worked with Jason on it. Brought Siobhan in, Garrett. A lot of Garrett. All from Caller King. So we all came back together. But I can't really say much more than that. We literally just wrapped last night. But it's a fun little action piece with the dramatic stuff. Yeah, and a couple other names in there that I can't really share yet, but
That's all right. That's all right. We know it's coming out though. We know it's a good
it's
thing.
coming. Yeah, yeah. We start the edit next week, so I'm excited about that one. I still have 3 Mile In that's coming up. We have Joey Badass and Kelly Rowland with that one, and then I have another one with on the life of Charles Cosby that's coming up. He was like the man who Griselda Blanco brought into the cocaine game, and he was able to like leave it alive, unlike many people that enter her life. So it's an interesting exploration.
Oh wow.
So on that, yeah. So we got a few things just kind of working. Yeah. So that's it. That's what I'm cooking up, man.
Awesome. Well, Caller King is coming out July 6th on BET Plus. Now I'm telling you guys, not only do we have a new rising action star in Naturi, but we got Lance Gross in a fantastic role, and Jason Mitchell. Like Wes said, the whole cast is phenomenal in this. And I hope there will be a sequel down the road to this because it leaves it open. And I would love to see more of Jada King down the road to see what's next for her as she seeks justice. And Wes, thank you so much again for taking the time to talk about it.
All right. Thanks, man. Good to see you, bro.
All right. Take care.
All right. You too, homie.
All right.